Are you new to Christianity? Old? Are you now spiritual but not religious? Are you not sure what to do? You just want to love God, but the Bible's too confusing. I've been in many of these places, alright? So, when you come to learn the full truth, and it is a narrow path, most people won't get there. But things are actually quite simple, because when you're in Christianity, you're trying to figure out, what is sin? What do I do to be saved? This person's saying that thing, that person's saying that thing. Alright, I was a Christian for most of my life. I ended up leaving church as a teenager because I was like, it's just all hypocritical and self-righteous, and I want to go and find God on my own. Like, why do I have to go to church to find God? I don't need to do that. And that's technically right. We do need to gather with true believers and to help sharpen iron, to help each other understand the word, to study together. Yes, 100%. Okay, but yeah, if you're in Christianity, you're going to be confused, or you're going to be falsely comfortable in thinking you're saved when you're not. And I'm making this video because I need you to know the truth, and you probably won't want to hear this because it's going to sound religious or legalistic. I'm just going to warn you. But I was questioning a lot of things. I ended up rejecting the Bible a couple of years ago, just thinking, oh, it's been changed. How do we believe it? What about Adam and Eve? That's weird. Noah's Ark, that's weird, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, for whatever reason, I went so far in my life just walking away from God. Like, I still said I love God, and I thought he was in my heart, like, talking to him sometimes when I wanted stuff. I mean, I would thank him for good things too, but yeah, I went too far just living my life thinking I was totally free to do whatever as long as I loved God, because that was all that mattered, just faith. Like, I could reject the word and still it was fine as long as I loved God. But the word is part of our faith. It's our instruction book. How else do we know what we're supposed to be doing as a believer? Anyway, I started reading the Bible again because God convicted my heart. And I read in John 14:15. If you love me, keep my commandments. And then I started reading the commandments again because I maybe heard them once as a younger person, but I couldn't remember them off the top of my head. They weren't memorized. Never once in my roughly 20 years of going to church was I ever told that they were to be followed at all. Are you joking? This is the New Testament, John 14:15. If you love me, keep my commandments, and I will bring you another comforter, even the Spirit of truth. And you know what? I was like, oh, okay, 10 commandments, I should probably do them because I love God. I'm coming back to the faith. I need to make sure I'm in it properly because I remembered the verse, Revelation 3 verse 16. I would rather you be hot or be cold, but because you're lukewarm, I will spit you out of my mouth. That's pretty serious. If we aren't all for God, forsaking our own flesh, forsaking our own worldly lusts and desires and goals and all that crap, then we're lukewarm and we're not worthy. I know you're gonna be like, what? That's not fair, blah blah. That's the truth. Anyway, so I started doing the commandments. And guess what? I received the Spirit of truth so I could read and understand the word. And it's been a lot of studying. It's been months of studying and Brothers and sisters further along to help me understand. Essentially, to be saved, we need to keep the commandments. And the Rainbow Covenant, not eat unclean flesh, Isaiah 66. And, Genesis 6, I think. Oh, God, I can't remember the exact one, sorry. I'll try and add it into the description. And also to love our neighbour as ourselves is Leviticus 19, verse 17. Love them as yourselves, rebuke their sin so you don't suffer sin upon them. So when they transgress the law, and the law is the law of liberty, the 10 Commandments, when they transgress the commandments, you rebuke them so that they can stay on the narrow path. And there are rules to rebuke, and you need to look into this because I can't tell you everything in this little video. Yeah, and I'm just going to say it again. I'm going to say it on every video because this is important as well. In John 5:43 it says, I come in my Father's name and you don't receive me. But another will come in his own name and him you will not receive. Him you will receive. So if we think about all the prophecy about people saying, Lord, Lord, we prophesied in your name, or the pastors are telling us to use or are using Jesus. Well, when we go and learn what was Jesus' actual name in his own time, it was Yeshua. You can say Yehoshua, you can say or whatever, but it wasn't Jesus. Yeshua comes in his Father's name, Jehovah. Jesus comes in his own name. Please look into this. This is very important. This is to do with the Antichrist. There's a whole identity around Jesus, the name, that is a false Christ. It's someone that preaches peace and love. Yeshua says, I come not to bring peace, but a sword. Matthew 10, verse 34 to 36, I think. Guys, there's a lot to learn. But the truth is in the Word, and we need to study it and understand it. But you can't fully understand it unless you have the Spirit of truth. And you receive that once you follow the commandments. Once you stop eating unclean flesh. And I know that sounds religious. Even to me now, I'm like, seriously, meat? But it's in prophecy, alright? It just shows that we're reading and understanding the Word if we do these things. And rebuke our neighbours. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's very hard, especially when you have to rebuke your family because they say they're a believer and they're doing things they shouldn't. So, the first commandments, God only, no other gods, and no idols, links very closely to doing Christmas and Easter and especially Halloween. Please look into those things. You can watch the video Truth or Tradition on YouTube. But don't follow everything that man says because he's in error about the feasts. We aren't in the time of restoration yet. Nothing has been restored, so we aren't to do the feast yet. We're not in the land. Alright? It's hard because sometimes when you come out of Christianity and looking for the truth, you're like, oh, okay. Oh, so I won't do Christmas, but I'll do Hanukkah. I was very close to doing this. And going too far right and doing the Torah movement instead of too far left doing once saved, always saved Christianity.